From AccuWeather.com, this is AccuWeather Daily, a brief host-read article. It's weather news in a nutshell. Well, the tropical depression that was swirling in the Gulf over the weekend strengthened into Tropical Storm Bertha on Monday evening. As the storm tracks westward, torrential rain, flooding, gusty thunderstorms, and building seas are expected along the Gulf Coast this week. As of early Tuesday morning, thunderstorms associated with Bertha remained spread over several hundred miles, with most of the activity over the Gulf. While much of the Gulf Coast was sunny through Monday, conditions are expected to deteriorate later on this week depending on the track and strength of the tropical storm. AccuWeather lead hurricane expert Alex Da Silva said that a hug-the-coast scenario would keep overall winds weaker, but heavy to flooding rainfall would increase along the central Gulf Coast before spreading inland as the storm loses wind intensity. A broad, elongated swath of 1 to 4 inches of rain is forecast. Northeasterly winds would keep the heaviest rainfall near the Interstate 10 corridor, with much lower totals likely north toward Interstate 20. Pockets of 4 to 8 inches are forecast as well, with an AccuWeather local storm max of 15 inches. While the storm would lose wind intensity relatively quickly after moving inland, it could still produce drenching rain for days as a tropical rainstorm. Interests along the Interstate 10 corridor should prepare for tropical storm force wind gusts of 40 to 60 miles per hour, with an AccuWeather local storm max gust of 75 miles per hour, which is hurricane force. Torrential rain would be less likely to reach Texas with this hug-the-coast scenario. Storm surge is generally expected to range from 1 to 3 feet, but could be higher if the storm strengthens significantly. A more concerning scenario would develop if the storm tracks farther south over the Gulf. Da Silva said that would likely allow the storm to strengthen much more because its center would remain over the warm waters of the open Gulf for a longer period. Strengthening to perhaps a high-end tropical storm or hurricane would be possible in that case. This farther southward track would keep the center of the storm away from Louisiana, but could ultimately spread heavy rain, gusty winds, and potentially damaging surf farther to the west in Texas. This stronger, farther west track could also spread flooding rainfall into central Texas. The Texas Hill Country may be especially vulnerable to downpours due to saturated ground and infrastructure damage by the catastrophic flooding last week. Regardless of which scenario unfolds, conditions on the Gulf will become increasingly hazardous for boaters this week. Sudden squalls can rapidly increase winds and build rough seas. Brewing tropical storms often produce severe thunderstorms capable of spawning tornadoes and waterspouts. Surf will steadily build much of this week, increasing wave energy and raising the strength and frequency of dangerous rip currents. As wave heights build, the risk of overwash on low-lying coastal roads will also increase. At this time, there appears to be a minimal threat to offshore petroleum rigs, which are designated to withstand major hurricanes, but AccuWeather meteorologists will be closely monitoring the progress of the storm and will provide updates on its intensity-based track. That's all for now. You can find more regional forecasts and science-based articles at AccuWeather.com, and for your local forecast at your fingertips, download the AccuWeather app. Enjoy the rest of your day, stay weather aware, and I'll be back tomorrow with more from AccuWeather.